Hello, and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be doing an excerpt on A Most English Princess, a novel of Queen Victoria's Daughter by Clare McHugh. And this is a uncorrected proof, so it has gotten to my door, and this one already came out in September of 2020. I have not read this yet, but I want to thank William Morrow for sending me this copy. I am super excited to read that. Let me look at the back. On the back, I'm going to read the back. It says, perfect for fans of the BBC's Victoria. Never heard of that. Alison Polanski's The Accidental Empress and Daisy Goodwin's Victoria. This debut novel tells the gripping and tragic story of Queen Victoria's eldest daughter, Victoria, Princess Royal. To the world, she was Princess Victoria, daughter of a queen, wife of an emperor, and mother of Kazu Wilhelm. Her family had just called her Vicky, smart, pretty, and self-assured. Let me put this down a little bit. Self-assured. She changed the course of the world. January 1858, Princess Victoria glides down the aisle of St. James Chapel to the waiting arms of her beloved Prince Frederick, heir to the powerful kingdom of Prussia. Although there is no mere political match, Vicky is determined that she and Fritz will lead by example, just as her parents, Victoria and Albert, had, and will bring about a liberal and united Germany. Brought up to believe in the rightness of her cause, Vicky nonetheless struggles to thrive in constrained Parisian court, where each day she seems to take a wrong step, and her status as eldest daughter of Queen Victoria does little to smooth over the conflicts she faces. But handsome, gallant Fritz is always by her side as they navigate court intrigue and challenge the cunning Chandler Otto von Bismarck while fighting for the throne. In the soul of a nation, at home they endure tragedy, including their son Wilhelm, rejected for all they stand for. Clare McHugh tells an enthralling and visiting story of this most English princess from her younger years, as the apple of her father, Albert's eye through her rise to power on top of the mighty German Empire and to her final months of life. So yeah. And then this is really pretty. I don't know what they're doing with the original and stuff. But yeah. And I'm gonna read the first chapter, or yeah, probably first chapter, or actually prologue. So yeah, this is the cast of characters. So it's really cool that they have the cast of characters. If you wanna read them, you can. Really awesome. Alright, prologue. Cranberry in Thomas, February 1901. Fritz post-bunny sits uncomfortably in the corner of the carriage, trying to find a useful place to rest his head, and pulls his overcoat tighter. Even with the luxuries provided the royal party, a large private yacht for the Channel crossing, and plush sleeping compartments on the train to Frankfurt. The trip overnight from London had been taxing, and he feels queasy, and his temples throb. Private secretary to the new king. He'll have a full day's work to do when they arrive. Beside him, softly snoring, is Francis Laking, a Harley Street physician whom the king enlisted for his visit to his ailing sister, the Dowager Empress of Germany. The morning sun shines brightly, but the air is very cold. He listens to the jingle of hardness and the clopping of horse hooves as they pull 5 carriages up the hill. Finally his eyes close. A sharp turn to the left and Poisonby is jousted awake. Laking too. The carriage rattles to a stop at the high iron gate, and soldiers approach on both sides, peering in the windows. After the vehicle lurches forward again, Poisonby can see helmeted men marching 4 abreast in a courtyard on the left. Ahead, under an ornate stone entrance portal, he spies a cluster of officers. As the first carriage, the king strutted up to the door. The whole file halts. Poisonby cranes his neck and watches 2 footmen dart forward to help out the honored guest. A small band, somewhere out of sight, strikes up the hearty, unrecognized Oma tune. No, God save the king, says Laking. Not welcome style, Poisonby answers. Only he is lord and master in German. A stocky figure Poisonby recognizes instantly as the German Kazu steps forward to embrace his uncle. In brown tweeds and a soft Homburg hat, the English king looks strangely incongruous, mousy, a mere civilian surrounded by military brass. We have come to an armed camp, the doctor observed. Apparently so, Poisonby replies. The king plans to stay at Galas Friedrichs, her sister's castle near the village of Kronberg, for only 6 days. He won't absent himself from England any longer during the first weeks of his reign, when so many in London watch to see how he will be different from his mother, Queen Victoria, who occupied the throne for 63 years. Poisonby can't suppress a smile as he's escorted across the Barnwell wood-beamed entrance hall and up a set of wide red carpeted stairs. What a contrast this royal resistance is, with King's own home in Norfolk, poky, stuffy Sandringham, remnants of an undistinguished Scottish golf hotel. From the outside, the sklosh looks like an amalgam of an Italian residence palazzo and a medieval castle with its Gothic roofs and tower and Tudor-style timber framings on its side wings. But inside its modern country house deluxe, light oak paneling, vaulted ceilings painted cream, well-cushioned airy rooms furnished handsomely with elegant Bodleian pieces and velvet upholstered chairs. Entering his 3rd room floor, he notices the white-tiled bathroom off to the left, and ahead a broad curtained bed that he longs to crawl into. Beside that, a plush roll-on sofa, two tall windows overlooking the tiniest mountain, and a desk set in front of a large stone fireplace. Why would you place a desk in front of a fireplace? I do not know. I like how there's a chicken and the pumpkin up there. Funny. Someone thoughtfully has lit a fire. His velvet Barlow is hanging 3 suits and his dinner jacket in the wardrobe on the far side of the bed. Pusenbai sits down in the desk chair and sighs. No possibility for a nap. He feels oppressed already by the voluminous paperwork that will arrive daily from London, need careful reading, and then be dispatched back to the capital and to British legulations abroad. They inquired about bringing along an inquiry, or at least a shorthand clerk, but the king refused, pronouncing "Frick, this is a purely personal visit. The new souvenir hasn't yet grasped that he is never off duty and traveling with a small staff is no longer practical. Still, Pusenbai didn't insist, so now he's stuck. Once Dr. Lanking examines the Dewa Empress, he confirms that her cancer has advanced beyond cure to the bone. He has turned his efforts to easing her constant, agonizing pain, since the German doctors seem to have little relief to offer. Because she is too weak to leave her suit, the king spends an hour there with her each morning and another in the afternoon. Pusenbai pictures the diminutive empress instructing and advising, even shaking an admonitory finger at her brother from time to time, while he smokes and listens with an affectionate smile. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, Pusenbai is deciphering a telegram from Whitehall at his desk when a footman knocks and enters to say the Empress wishes to speak with him. Getting up to follow the man, his stomach twists anxiously, not the worries of a nervous courier, but the dread of a fond acquaintance. For the Empress is his godmother, and he's known her most of his life. Moral illness has changed her, and indeed ushered into a sunny, apricot-colored lounge a few minutes later. He encounters a shrunken figure clad in simple gray smock, a black brocade shawl over her shoulders, slightly supported by cushions on a chaise sofa, head bobbing slightly. Her face is yellow and swollen, her eyes closed, and her mouth fixed in an ugly grimace. Woven's Ma, says the North, standing next to the sofa. She's just had an injection. It requires some short time to take effect. Percival's throat tightens and his nose starts to run. 20 years previously, on a spring afternoon, the Empress, then a mere crown princess, came to visit his mother's workroom in the Norman Tower at Windsor, and he saw her for the first time. He recalls her light rose scent, the red woolen dress and dainty hat she wore, her kindness to him, an ungainly and self-conscious youth. Ever after, they've met on 24 or so occasions. He thought that somehow she'd take his measure and concluded he was capable, worthy of notice. Terrible to see her skeletal, barely upright, and confined to the faintly sour fuzz of the sick room. She opened up her eyes and looked up. "Fuzz, dear," the Empress whispered. "Forgive me. I have been slow to properly welcome you to Friedrichshof." He closed his eyes again. "Your home is beautiful," Person said. "Please sit," she said, reaching a trembling, wasted arm over the cushion tower to indicate a place on the right. "I will speak to my godson now." Fraudulent. "Thank you," she said sternly. He settled beside her, and the Empress laid a hand on his forearm. Her sweet smile evokes her formal self. "I watched my father build 2 splendid houses. I was so fortunate to have the chance to build one of my own," she said. "You were more inspired by Voldemort here, I would say, than Osborne. Yes, although nowhere is lovelier than Osborne. You were not tempted to build at German seaside, with bad Hamburg so close. I could count on a stream of English guests. My brother was most consistent." He smiles again. The famous casino at the Rhineland spa town of Bad Homburg, 5 miles distant, was frequented for years by the erstwhile Prince of Wales. "It's a great pleasure for all of us to be here," Furstenberg said. "My brother and I have had excellent talks, but I don't quite take in that he is king now. His Royal Highness is himself still a Justin, I believe, and not to be with my mother at the end. I cannot tell you how I suffered when the news came." She shakes her head. "I imagine, Your Royal Highness. I try to believe that the king, queen, and I were together so much and so often that it doesn't matter that I was absent in the late days. Yes, my son boasts he cradled his dying grandmother." The Empress's tone is ironical. "He maneuvered himself into a position by the bed and sat propping her up with his right arm." My mother recounts, determined to be foremost even at that bedside, she explains, picturing the crazer pushing in at a most inappropriate moment. They both laugh. "Maybe their merriment alarmed the nurse, for now she's back. You mustn't stay long. She's easily tired," she tells Person by sternly. But the Empress raises her head slowly. "No, no. I need a few more minutes." The nurse scowls and departs. The Empress closes her eyes and sits silent for a while, gathering strength perhaps. When she opens them again, she says almost casually, "I need you to do something for me, dear Fred. I need you to take charge of my letters and take them back to England." "Letters?" "Letters I received, and those I sent to my father and my mother during the years I lived here. When I was last in England, I retrieved from Windsor the ones I wrote. I thought to use them for a book. No time now." Percival looks away, too distressed to acknowledge that. She passes on. "Dear Fred, listen now. Tonight, please, I will have them brought to your room." He nods. "No one must know that they've been taken away. When I am dead, my son will send men to search my papers, taking what he wants burned. Remember, after my husband." He nods again, recalling that dreadful episode as the newts Polaris, nearly 13 years ago now. "Keep them, and in future, well, I hardly know. May I give them to your care?" "Pleasure, ma'am." "I'm happy to do so." He hears his voice quavering. She responds with another light pat. "And if I don't see you again, you will greet your mother," she said. "Yes." And do not despair. No, Catholics call that the unpardonable sin. As your godmother, I can instruct in such manners. She smiles. It's remarkable. She looks so dreadful, and then her smile is from the soul, still a glow. Here on edge of a sob, but fights it back. He must answer her dignity with his own. Yes, the Lord has. Goodbye, Fritz. God bless you. He rises to his feet and bows before leaving. It shouldn't come as a surprise. Person by supposes. Back at his desk, that the antipathy long extent between mother and son endures. Even now that she's on death's doorstep, the two look at the world completely different. Such a tragedy. All liberal Europe agrees that the emperor's late husband, Kaiser Frederick, enjoyed only the shortest of reigns, and since that noble man was replaced by his son, the continent's most powerful nation has a violent attention-seeking man-boy at the helm, constantly flexing his muscles. Far from floating above the politics, he shamelessly supports right-wing parties. Bismarck, whose wars forged the German Empire, afterwards used his diplomatic wives to keep the peace. No German minister today has his finance, and all must contend with their erratic, irascible Kaiser. Outside his window, Postman hears the rhythmic, leathery slapping sounds of soldiers marching in a parade. As they do here at all hours, the troops are not the local garrison. He understands, but members of the Kaiser's personal guard dispatched from Berlin, now that the Emperor's illness has entered its terminal stage. A half-dozen plainclothes men called pursuers have been installed inside the castle, in an office off the main hall, and they seem to do nothing all day but prowl the passageways and spy on the comings and goings of the Empress's guests. Parson by encounters them from time to time. What? What do you want? Okay, I'll get you some in a minute. Hold on. Two traveling in pairs. The men smile, but male violet purpose stews below their courtesy. It will be a delicate thing removing the Emperor's letters from the castle undetected. Dinner is served as usual at 8. The king at the head of the table, with Princess Sophie and Princess Moretta, two of the Emperor's daughters on either side of him. They dote on dear Uncle Bertie, laughing at his remarks, vying to refill his whiskey glass. The Kaiser sits at the foot, holding forth a new naval ship design. He had brought along scrap paper and between courses sketched out the vessels featuring for his dinner companions. General von Kessel and Real Admiral von Muller, who appeared to hang on to every word, every drawing. Furstenberg understands that, in private, the German military leaders mock their blustering, intemperate Kaiser, but tonight these men make a very convincing show of fealty. After dinner, when the rest of the party heads up to the library to smoke and play cards, Parsiboy returns. upstairs. He attempts to focus on the documents and telegraphs piled on his desk, but he's distracted, watching the clock. Time crawls. The clock strikes midnight and then 1. Maybe he misunderstood the Empress. A quiet knock. "You're in," he said. 4 men come into the room, each pair carrying between them a large box, the size of a trunk, but flatter and wider. The boxes are covered with a black oilcloth and bound with heavy beige cord, obviously new. Affixed to each side of the box is a blank white label. The men are stablemen, dressed in open shirts, wool trousers, and tall boots. They lay the boxes down at the far end of the room and leave without a word to him. It's like a strange, mute play of 2 minutes duration. When the Empress spoke of letters, Person Boy imagined a half-dozen bulky packages that could be concealed in his personal luggage. These boxes will have to be explained. Person Boy finally rises from the chair and writes on the label of one, Books with Care. On the other, China with Care. Then he adds his address, South Barn, Old Whistle, England. The next morning, when Person Boy emerges from the bathroom, still drying his face with a towel, his valet is standing staring at the boxes. "What are these, sir?" Barlow asks. He gives his cheeks a final rub, tosses the towel on a side chair, and says, offhandedly, "Ah, Barlow, these are some things I bought as we passed through Bad Homburg. When we are departing, put them in the back passage with the dispatch boxes and my porte-matex." "Certainly," he says, uncertainly. A quarter of an hour later, Mr. Fever, this is Fehira, knocks on the door. Fehira is the king's courier, in charge of moving everything, and everyone's attached to the souvenir efficiently from one place to another. Barlow has obviously wasted no time passing on his concerns. "I must say I'm surprised, sir, that at this as very clear instructions were given to all the servants that items that came into the castle had to be reviewed by me, or by the chief pursuer. We now appear to have 2 boxes of goods that no one had previously inspected. How exactly did this happen?" Fear asked. Scanning his mind for a response, Personba alights on diligence, indignation. "Isn't it enough, Peter, that every time I return to England, I am grilled by custom house officers who want a list of every single thing of value I have acquired abroad, and then they dispute the value I put on each. Now I am obligated to justify my purchases to you, standing in my bedroom. Is that what you are asking me to do? The whole song and dance right here?" Fear looks shocked. The king's upstanding private secretary, whose father was the queen's upstanding private secretary for 30 years before him, is attempting a bit of petty smuggling. It takes a minute, but Fear adjusted. "Oh, yes, of course, sir. I understand, sir. We will just keep it between us, sir, and don't concern yourself with the custom house men at this time. I will handle them," he says. "Must oblige," Fear said, Poisonba, walking to the door, where they shake hands. As he watches Fear retreat down the hallway, he wonders what the man imagines the boxes contain. Rest rattled, he lays his forearm down on the desk to rest his head for 10 minutes before returning to work. On the morning 2 days later, when the king is departing for London, the Kazu sees them off. He presides at the foot of the stairs, talking loudly about the relative merits of the German railroad versus the English one, and his own prowess as a railway engineer, and for that matter a sailor and a horseman. The king is still upstairs, saying a final goodbye to his sister, and Personby listens and nods. Out of the corner of his eyes, he monitors suitcases, dispatch boxes, baskets, and trunks passing through the back landing, across the entrance hall and out the front door, where 3 wagons wait to be filled. At last the 2 boxes containing the letters go by, looking conspicuously different from anything else. Personby sees servants place them, one on top of the other. On the back of the last wagon, the grooms throw canvas covers over the first 2 wagons and tie these down. But the 3rd wagon closest to the door remains uncovered. Surely someone will notice the Amulet's boxes and insist on investigating. He spots Fear out there chatting with the groom. At one point, yes, I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened.
Okay, we can start this over.
Okay, I think the TV went off, or the thing went off. Hold on. He spots Fever out there chatting with the groom. At one point, casually leaning.
Mommy,
What?
the show is still going, but you can't see it.
No, I can't see it because the PlayStation is not on. So, obviously the PlayStation is not on.
Yeah, you need to turn it down.
Okay, I will. I can't do it right now, Bobby. I can't do it right now. I'm almost done. I have one more page, okay? You can play with something. At one point, casually leaning his elbows on the top box, the cager drove out, obviously to the loaded wagon, other than welcome evidence that the English visitors are leaving. He can't imagine that person by especially a servant, would dare intrigue against him here, in Germany, where all quiver at his command. As for the Empress, he long ago sidelined her, and now she is dying. The Kaiser not thought his mother might call upon his loyalty and discretion of a friend to remove from beneath his nose letters he'd like to destroy forever. Personby is swaying slightly, straining to betray nothing as the ancient moment. Why?
You have to.
I have to read this to the audience.
No.
Yeah.
You have to be quiet.
Okay. Stretches on and on.
You gotta be quiet.
Bobby, please, I'm trying to do this video, okay?
You gotta be quiet.
I'm almost done. It'll be really long and people don't want to listen to you say, "Oh, you gotta be quiet." People don't want to listen to that. I'm sorry. Then, without warning, a pair of gnomes throw a cover on the last wagon and it rolls away. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. You gotta stop doing that, okay? You can show them your toys or do something else. Run. Exhilaration and relief courses through him. Together he and she, have thrummed their noises at the audacious Kaiser. In future, they who seek to pass judgment on his godmother will have to contend with her own testimony. The first carriage, ready for passengers, rolls in under the portico. Fever bustles through the door and whisks by person by, with a brief nod, heading for the ball hall.
Bye.
There, a heavy step on the stairs, and Percival looks up to see the king descending. His
I'm waiting on that.
His nieces following behind, white handkerchiefs pressed to their weeping eyes. The king's face is grim and set. He gives his nephew a quick wordless embrace. Then he takes Person by the elbow and says, "Come, ride with me. I want to speak of other things now," and they are off. Late the next afternoon, Person by arrives at Windsor railway station with all his luggage. Having been helped into the local train at Paddington by a skeptical Barlow and a friendly porter. He had wired ahead to his wife and asked her to send the local drayman to the station with his wagon. At Cell Farm, his wife looks on as he and the driver between them carry the boxes up the stairs into the attic and stack them under the eaves. The boxes remain there, unknown and unremarked upon, for 27 years. Alright, Bobby. Move, please. Alright, so that is it of the prologue of...
Hey, I'm going to show them some more toys.
Okay. Most English Princess by Clare McHugh. Pick it up, and it's on sale. Pick it up right now. And I hope you have a great day. Let's actually put him in view. Have a great day.
I am Dolphin.
Bye.
Bye.
Give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. I'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.
And high five.
High five.